So I've just watched a video entitled Owner of Terrified Haunted House Accused of Attempted Murder and Rape of Girlfriend, and this is by the Law and Crime Network. This is referring to the McKamey Manor, which is an infamous so-called haunted house in Tennessee, formerly in San Diego, California. And its owner, its founder, Russ McKamey, is a very controversial character. Now, I actually made a video about this back in 2017. It must have been 2017. It's 7 years ago. So in that video, I was discussing a lot of the allegations made against McKamey Manor. Now, I've never been in it, so I was talking very much from an outside perspective. But suffice to say, it's highly controversial, and many people say it's not a haunted house; it's a torture house, basically. Now, I'm going to read out a report on the latest developments because since that law and crime video is aired, the charges have been dropped. I'm just going to read this out. It's going to be abridged because I've already tried to upload this video and I ran out of space. So I'm going to make an abridged version and then put a link. It's from the Tennessean and the report's by Craig Shoup in Nashville. Several criminal charges against the owner of a controversial Tennessee haunted attraction were dropped Monday after a court hearing in Lawrence County. Russ McKamey was facing second-degree attempted murder, rape and domestic violence after his July the 19th arrest. At the time, police said McKamey strangled a woman identified as his girlfriend and raped her during a domestic altercation. The Tennessean does not name victims of sexual assault. McKamey's attorney, Davis Griffin, issued a statement via email Monday after a Lawrence County General Sessions Court spokesperson confirmed the charges were dropped against his client. After DA General Brent Cooper personally reviewed the evidence we collected over the past 2 months and spoke with Mr. McKamey's accuser, who was present in person this morning, he decided to voluntarily and unconditionally dismiss all four charges against Mr. McKamey because the allegations had no merit whatsoever, Griffin said. General Cooper's diligence and professionalism in his decision is commendable. I previously said the truth will come out. General Cooper's unqualified decision should tell you everything you need to know. And then the report goes on to talk about the litigations that McKamey's other litigations that he's going through. Um, he's a controversial character. There's no question about that. Now, in the I'll put a link to both of the sources, the Tennessee and in the video. In the Law and Crime Network analysis, they're talking about to what extent the legal expert they have is talking about to what extent is someone's business model and the livelihood that they have um, how does that factor into a personality analysis in a criminal case, i.e., because McKamey is known for this extreme haunt, how much does that factor into any sort of preconceived idea that he's predestined to be a rapist or a murderer? And the legal expert says that probably a prosecutor probably wouldn't go there. Um, Now, I'm not a legal expert, but I would have thought that someone's character is relevant, and their line of work, if it involves something like an extreme haunted attraction, and then they're accused of rape and attempted murder, I wouldn't say it should be totally divorced. If that haunted attraction has come under such heavy scrutiny. Now, I'm just going to revisit some of the things I said in the video. I did say that I wouldn't be surprised if McKamey got arrested one day. He has indeed been arrested, although the charges have been dropped. He must have a very good lawyer. Um, I also spoke about the issue of consent, and I would reiterate that because since that has been aired, the Jeremy Kyle show in Britain has been dropped in 2019. Now, there are differences, but I see similarities as well. In both cases, you have a very toxic situation where people um, go into a very controversial setting, an extreme haunted house, and a highly controversial talk show. Now, people may say, oh, there's a big difference, Nathan. I think the Jeremy Kyle show was pretty extreme in the way it played with people's emotions. It's not, I mean, the optics are different. It looks different from McKamey Manor, but I honestly would not step foot in myself. I wouldn't step foot in either environment. Um, both shows are controversial. And in both cases, you have this argument about consent. But if people don't know fully what they're consenting to, that's a very flawed argument. You know, in the case of McKamey Manor, they may have been given these extensive papers, or supposedly extensive, and I know McKamey Manor went out of its way to, oh, you have to be over 21, you have to have strong mental health, and so on. Although the thing about mental health, going through an experience like that, someone may be mentally stable beforehand, and then afterwards, not so much. It's like if they survive a car crash, they might be mentally stable beforehand, but then they have PTSD afterwards. So I think that's a phony argument about, oh, you have to be mentally sound. I mean, an experience like McKamey Manor, what it's being accused of, that would crack anyone. You know, I've seen grown men in tears over this. Um, you know, big tough guys. And that shouldn't be the optics. That shouldn't be a stereotype. But yeah, um, this thing about consent, it kind of pisses me off because it's stipulating that, oh, just because they agree, it's all fine. No one agrees to be tortured. They probably think, oh, it's an extreme haunt, so I'm going to get a lot of scares and it's going to be a bit physical. But I'm not convinced that they really know the full extent of it. And the fact that what we see aired, that's pretty extreme to begin with. What the hell goes on behind cameras? And watchers in Vegas? I'm going to wrap this video up soon, but I hope McKamey lands hard on his face because I think the guy's a creep. And he's extremely litigious. You know, for someone who whines about his freedom of speech, he seems to like to try to silence journalists and others. Um, I just get a very bad vibe from him. And the thing about consent, I mean, there's a case in France recently. You know, a woman's husband has been arrested over allegedly drugging her over years and having men gang rape her. And the defense has tried to argue that it was a sexual fantasy, but even if a woman has that sexual fantasy, it doesn't necessarily mean she wants it to happen. The consent argument, I think, can be really distorted because what are people consenting to? Do they know what they're consenting to? In the case of the Jeremy Kyle show, they were misled by producers. In the case of McKamey Manor, I'm not convinced they knew everything they were signing up to. So we'll see how this plays out. Once again, McKamey's got away with it. Charges were dropped, but I think this guy, hopefully, he will meet his justice. I get a bad instinct from him. If I couldn't be on a jury with McKamey, Russ McKamey, because I'm prejudiced against him. I think the guy's a sleazebag. I couldn't be on a jury. That's the truth. And I think a lot of people wouldn't be because his reputation precedes him. Um, and I'll leave it there for now, but I'm going to put links to the video and to the news report. Thanks for watching.